Congratulations, you just joined my band. Now, I know what you're thinking. The fact that the audition was literally just clicking on this video doesn't exactly paint a rosy picture of my access to bandmates. And you know what? You're right. I'm desperate. But in any event, you passed with flying colors, so welcome aboard, my friend. I know I haven't offered anything in terms of entertainment value yet, but I would really appreciate if you left a like and subscribed. Who knows, maybe in the future that will be insurance against one of my Mark E. Smith style outbursts and I fire everyone in the band. But probably not. But I would really appreciate it. So thank you. But yeah, you're probably wondering, who is this unshaven bohunk who's de-stringing a guitar faster than I've seen anyone ever do before? And why has he just shanghaied me into his band? First of all, I would watch my tone if I were you. That's Luke Exuberance you're talking about. The public, universal bandmate. And if you can't already tell from my sobriquet, I'm everyone's bandmate. Well, everyone who clicked on this video's bandmate. Obviously, I think every drummer who's ever been born probably has a better claim to that title than I do. I mean, look no further than the recently deceased Clem Burke from Blondie. May he rest in peace. It took his passing for me to realize that he's played on like everything. He's played drums for Joan Jett, for Iggy Pop. He played on that AdultNet record. I just mentioned Mark E. Smith. That's his ex-wife's band. Great, underrated 1980s indie rock act that I think everyone should check out at some point. Yeah, he just got everywhere. Like an archetypal drummer in the sense that he was in like 10 goddamn bands. But we're starting on a sad note here. I just want to say I hope we can all strive to emulate his example, and may he rest in peace. But back on the more positive side, which probably should be what I should be prioritizing for a first video, welcome to band practice. We're not doing anything really that fun today. I'm just restringing my guitar. It's kind of spring cleaning for all of my instruments, as it always is every March or April. I'm just going through, cleaning them off, getting them real nice and shiny, near mint condition, if you will. Every time I do this, I think of that Hard Times news headline that's like, guitar treated better than body. And I mean, it's true. But don't worry too much about me. I make sure to scrape all of the dead skin cells off and lather down in mineral oil myself every few months. So it's not like I treat my guitars too much differently. But seriously, this is quite a process. I've got 3 microfiber rags for this, one damp one that is dry. The damp one is just to soak up all the loose dust and grime, and the dry one is to get that sucker shining. Besides that, it's really nice for getting underneath the knobs and the pots. Obviously, I'm not an electrician, but I can imagine it's probably a bad idea to clean easily corrodable electronics with a damp cloth. The third microfiber rag is for putting the fretboard oil into the frets. And on that note, I'm about to start scraping off all of the dead skin cells from the frets. Really gross process. I call that the forbidden yayo right there. I'm using my Vidara room key from the time I stayed at the Vidara in Las Vegas. So that's pretty cool. Never thought that souvenir would be getting a second life, but hey, there you go. I normally use a credit card for this process, and it's always a decommissioned credit card, but it still seemed unwise to be doing that on a YouTube video. So I was like, what other cards could I use? Well, there's my government issued ID in the form of a driver's license. And there's this room key, so the option was pretty clear. And I promise I did not just snort that line right there. I did not Scarface the keratinocytes. Believe what you want. I know how it looks on camera. To be honest, this is my first time recording anything like this. I had no idea how prominent my head was going to be in the shot that I set up. But yeah, you're just going to have to put your faith in me as your new bandmate that I did not snort that. But I am just wiping it off with a paper towel, so it's getting in the air, and I'm probably breathing it in that way. So probably just as bad. I wish it had like psychedelic effects like the spice from Dune or something, but sadly it's probably just going to give me a lung infection. And yeah, now I'm moving up to wooden implements. Call me Homo heidelbergensis, the way I'm taking a sharp piece of wood and using it as a tool. Yeah, we're going in with a toothpick and really scraping all of the hard to reach places, getting the gunk out of the frets. You got to kind of be careful when you do that, because I've heard you can scrape the glue off the frets themselves, which would be bad. But I've never done that. Or at least I don't think I've done that. My frets all seem pretty good. They might need to be dressed sometime soon. They're kind of maybe a little wonky from all of my boomer bends that I've been, performing on them. But besides that, I think, it's just a tedious process. It's not particularly stressful. If anything, it's kind of meditative. Normally I listen to music when I do this, but since I filmed this on my frickin' phone, I couldn't. I guess I could have threw a record on, but I don't have that many records, and there wasn't really anything I wanted to listen to, so I kind of just sat in silence and was trying to think of what I should say in this video. I guess I will say that starting a band has always been a dream of mine, which is why I'm outsourcing it to the internet now, because that's just never happened for me. When I was in high school, I went to high school in a red school district, not exactly a paragon of cultural refinement, shall I say. If you're watching this and I know you, I'm probably not talking about you, but the point still stands. My friends who played instruments did not have the snobby hipster taste that I had. And yeah, I do admit some fault in that. I mean, you kind of choose to be a snob, but it's sort of unavoidable when you're a 16-year-old munchkin with like that Marty McFly playing at prom archetype in your head. You really just want to be in a band and be like, everyone's going to love my music. And just like Marty McFly, no one will. I guess I'm kind of lucky that it didn't happen that way, in a sense. But I do remember being like 18 and thinking, I can't wait for college because that's where I'm going to meet my future bandmates. I had imbibed all that Interpol lore. That band started because the guitarist of the band met the bassist in a college class, and he was like, "Hey dude, want to join my band?" And the rest is history. That's one of those things that's kind of like a very romantic image, but it's also the kind of thing that a Joe Schmo like myself thought was like very attainable. I was like, that could be me one day. So I was really motivated to go to college for that reason. Of course, I made the mistake of going to a commuter school where everyone lived 45 minutes away from campus in every direction. So the logistics were just not conducive to rocking out like that. And then I graduated into a bad economy that I didn't really even want to participate in the first place. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. And that fomented a quarter life crisis, and now I'm on the other side of it, and now I'm doing this. Yeah, being reckless and stupid and starting a YouTube channel during a potential recession. Let's go. But no, I mean, being reckless and stupid, at least it's fun. I think I'll probably look back on this fondly, even if I'm starving under a bridge someday. This is getting really dour. I shouldn't have started the video off by talking about the passing of Clem Burke. I feel like there's an elegiac aura in the air now. But yeah, here I am. I'm putting the strings on, and I messed up putting the E string on. It's been so long since I've changed guitar strings that it was just going to happen. Normally, I try to make sure that the string is wound so that way it's toward the inside of the fretboard, because if you have it pulling towards the outside of the fretboard, you can break the nut of the guitar. I've seen people do it before. It's not a fun repair. Well, it's not that bad of a repair. It's actually a pretty easy repair as I understand it, but I've never really done anything horribly bad to a guitar before. So I'd like to keep it that way. So I have to go in and mess with the string and restring it, and yeah, it's just a mess. more of a mild inconvenience, really. I'm glad I got it out of my system on this guitar, because in the next episode, I'm going to be restringing this guitar right here, which you definitely don't want to be making those kind of mistakes on a 12 string like this one, because the octave strings on a 12 string are really thin, really prone to breaking if you mess it up somehow. And I've done that. I've broken the octave G string, the thinnest string on that guitar, and my life flashed before my eyes, and I was like depressed afterwards. I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Thankfully, and shout out to Roto Sound. I'm not sponsored by anyone, but if anyone wants to send me some money, I hope it's Roto Sound. Those Roto Sound strings come with a supplementary lowest gauge string. So I just used a 9 gauge string from my Roto Yellows to replace the 8 gauge string that I broke on that guitar. So yeah, problem solving, I guess. But yeah, if you've stuck around and you've listened to me this entire time, I really appreciate that. I hope you stick around. I hope you're a bandmate forever. Again, please subscribe if you feel so inclined. Leave a comment and introduce yourself down below. I'd really appreciate that as well. And yeah, hopefully we get to making some actual fun, cool music soon. I've got some ideas for that. If you have any ideas, please sound off below. This is kind of just untreaded territory for me right now, and I'm hoping that as a band we can march on together, so to speak. So please let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you've got any ideas for songs. I'd love to try and write someone's song idea into existence. Something that's kind of funny about me, I've never actually written a song with lyrics and a vocal performance before. I've done plenty of instrumentals. I've recorded covers of songs, and I have done full arrangements of them. So I know my way around a DAW, a digital audio workstation for the uninitiated. But all in all, this is, like I said, new territory for me. But that's part of the fun of it. We get to explore all of this together. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you stick around. I hope you stick around through the next video, which is me restringing a guitar again and just yapping my ass off. In any event, the boring yapping stuff, it's limited. Don't worry, we just have to push through the the spring cleaning, like I said, before we can get into the spring partying. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.